welcome to another TGIF episode of the Anti-Pharmacist podcast. Actually, it is the last episode of this podcast for the year. Yay! And firstly, I want to wish you Merry Christmas. Yes, Christmas is in the air, of course. Thank you so much, guys, for sticking with me up to this point for this year. And on this podcast this year, you will agree with me that we've had very interesting and educative episodes since this season started. And thank you so much for your support, for your comments, for your likes and all of that. Yes, today I will be giving you an excerpt of the discussion I had with a friend, a pharmacologist, fellow scientist, Fermi Davies, on debunking some medical myths. Of course, I will not be giving you the whole thing. I will just be giving you a few excerpts. You can go watch the whole thing on his YouTube page. That is Fermi Davies channel. Fermi with an R, Fermi Davies, Davies, and I'll be wrapping up this episode by doing my Spotify Wrapped for the year. Appreciating you guys for having stuck with me, reading out the stats so you can know how much this podcast has grown this year, while giving you some little heads up, giving you some tease about what you should expect next year. So without further ado, let's get right into it. First, some excerpts from Debunking Medical Myths with Fermi Davies. So listen and learn.
There's a common myth of drinking 8 ounces of water per day, like 8-ounce glasses of water per day, and I feel this is a common myth going around, especially amongst those that are frequent in the gym and try to work out and get really active. So I don't know, maybe you could just give us your take on that. They are overweight or they are just skinny and looking to get maximum gains in the gym. So what do you think about this?
I think that the person that started that myth, or should I call it rumor, was just trying to encourage, hydration. That everybody should drink water. But I think it's set to be 8 ounces per day. That is not a fact. That's a myth, like you rightly said. The fact is that everybody needs to hydrate well daily. Our requirements for water differ due to various factors: energy consumption, the climate, the kind of things that we do. So it doesn't have to be 8 ounces per day. You understand?
Okay.
There are many countries that do not measure water in ounces. How do you know what volume to consume? Take as much water as you require per day, as long as it will not disrupt any of the activities. I don't think I've ever heard of anybody dying of taking too much water. Or have you? So take as much water as you need.
I haven't also. I believe it varies even with the weather. Like the current climate in Nigeria now, all of us happen to drink more water during this Harmattan period than the rainy season. Yeah. So a lot of factors could affect.
Kind of work you do. You can't expect somebody that does office work now to consume the same amount of water as somebody who stays under the sun for most part of the day.
That's true.
It doesn't have to be 8 ounces. The person that started that just wanted people to hydrate. So that's the message from that myth. Hydrate, drink enough water every day, as much as you require.
There are just some things people say out there that without really thinking about it critically, you could just take it hook, line and sinker without even second guessing.
I think these myths are because of either somebody's experience that they shared with somebody and the other person takes it as fact, or just an hypothesis. It means to just explain something away, or it means to stop people from doing something. That's how myths start, all these fairy tales that we see.
Yeah, that's true.
Everything should be based on research, especially as it concerns our health, so that we don't do something that will harm us, thinking that it is actually benefiting us.
True. That is very true. So moving on to the next, there's a myth that says the body automatically flushes toxin. Is it true or is it false?
This myth is actually true.
Okay.
The body flushes toxin itself. Like nature has a way of doing things. Like on one of my podcasts, I mentioned that food itself is medicine. God has made it such that your body is sufficient to do what it's supposed to do. You don't need all those bitters to start saying you are flushing something out of your system. There are systems for that in your body already. There is the kidney for removal of unwanted materials or substances. There's the liver for detoxification, for metabolism. Those are the ones that flush out unwanted materials from your body. Your digestive system also does some of that, by flushing out unwanted waste products of food. So when you eat healthy, you drink enough water, you eat enough fruit and vegetables, you exercise, your body does all the work for you. You don't need any extra thing to start flushing your system. But it's when you do not treat your body right, you do not eat right, that's when you may require all these detoxifiers and all of that. Because waste have accumulated, your kidney function has reduced, your liver function is not at the optimum, then you might need something to help you detoxify. That's why people with kidney issues now require dialysis, what the kidney should have done by itself. So your body is enough to detoxify itself if you treat it right. So that's the fact.
Okay, that's nice. Moving on to the next. So there's a myth about this flu shot. I don't think the flu shot is really popular in Nigeria, but there are some people that believe receiving this flu shot causes the flu. Or if I'm to expand on that, some people might believe taking a vaccine can cause a certain illness you are trying to prevent. So what do you have to say to that?
About that, I've always been an advocate of vaccination. In my podcast, I have 2 episodes on vaccination, how important it is. And vaccines they have saved humanity till now. All those things that used to kill people early 18th, 17th centuries. Now we have vaccines against them. Vaccines are not bad. Okay? Taking flu shots will not give you a flu because the organisms they use in these vaccines, they are either killed or attenuated. Attenuated, it means their virulence have been deactivated. They are not supposed to cause illnesses in you. Hardly will you say a vaccine that will cause an illness. Any reaction you're having after vaccination is the normal body reaction to a foreign object, which will subside over time. Pain at site of injection, some fever, okay? That is activating your immune system already. And after a few days, you're fine. A flu vaccine will not give you the flu. A COVID vaccine will not give you COVID, okay? Or any other vaccine for that matter will not give you that illness. If you're immunocompromised, you might have some illnesses. But how do you get from vaccines? Because they make sure that there is the lowest possible concentration to cause any illness. That's the truth about it. Vaccines will not kill you.
Okay, so that is good to know. There are some religious people that feel maybe taking vaccines cause autism or just some other side effects.
You already addressed that with the flu issue.
Yeah.
It's a gene mutation, genetic mutation. It happens from the fundamental. Genes are inside your cells.
Yeah.
So it's not a vaccine that will cause it. Nobody has come out and said, I received this vaccine and my child had autism. So no, vaccine is just the easy prey. Let me put it that way.
Yeah, sure. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. One of the most popular quotes or phrases of this generation.
I've been hearing that since I was a small girl.
Exactly.
At the point, I even thought it was a poem or something. An idiom, idiom. Yes, it was part of that.
Yeah.
Well, I believe that it's just a play upon words. It's rhyming. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. It's a rhyme. It's not a fact. You can't eat one apple every day and say you not go for your routine medical check or you never see a doctor. That's a lie. We all know that. An apple is just one fruit. Okay? What about your balanced diet? What about your water? What about living healthy, not smoking, not drinking, alcohol in excess, exercising? All those things are what keeps the doctor away. And the doctor is not a bad person too. So you should not always want to keep the doctor away. The doctor might give medical advice. Yes, you should go at least once in a year, at least even twice to do your general body check. So don't aim to keep the doctor away. You want actually to live healthy, eat a balanced diet, exercise, sleep well, hydrate, avoid substances that can damage your organs. You're fine.
Okay. So, how about the myth on ampiclox?
I have seen a lot. Working in community practice for years, people just come and give me one capsule of ampiclox. And of course, you know what they want to use it for.
Sure.
Fun, sex, and they want to prevent STI in their own mind. But when you think of STIs, what do you think about? Do you think it's only gonorrhea, chlamydia, syphilis? No.
They have no clue.
There are STIs that come from viruses, There's HIV, there's herpes. Those are virus-causing STIs. So the truth and the fact is that ampiclox does not prevent STI. What prevents STI is using protection in form of barrier, which is condom. Okay, that can prevent STIs up to a very high percentage, as long as there's nothing wrong with the integrity of the condom. But taking one capsule of ampiclox will not prevent STI for you.
Absolutely. People don't even know this, and sometimes they may be pregnant and they keep on taking all these drugs that end up messing up with the baby.
Yes, it doesn't prevent pregnancy, so you might get pregnant and keep taking these medications that will affect your fetus. Apart from that, what about antimicrobial resistance over time?
True.
Work with the part. I'm sure that this century, this age, it doesn't work anymore. Because antimicrobial resistance has really developed, especially to simple antibiotics like penicillin, ampiclox. So please, they are not preventing any STI with ampiclox.
Sure. And I feel there should be more awareness about this antibiotic resistance, because they are not only affecting themselves, they might end up affecting the whole, everybody around them.
About it extensively on a recent episode of my podcast.
Okay.
That it doesn't only affect you that you are taking it affects your environment. People that have never ever tasted it or live in the same community as you can transfer that resistance. So we should be very careful about our consumption of antibiotics. Because care is not taken. The diseases that we can cure today, they'll become incurable in the nearest future. We are not careful.
Having heard that, please, like I said, go over to Fermi Davies' YouTube channel to get the full details, okay? Now, onto my Spotify rap for the year. I'm very glad to tell you that this podcast actually grew a lot this year, more than last year. Yes, the podcast clocked the year around October this year, and I'm so glad to tell you that we've been able to enter even more podcast hosting platforms this year, apart from Spotify and Apple Podcasts that we were on, and the change from Google Podcasts. We were able to go to Amazon Music, to Castbox, and most recently YouTube and YouTube Music. Yes, I've been trying to break into YouTube Music for a while. I encountered some roadblocks due to some issues, but I'm glad to tell you that they're solved now. And yes, I'm on YouTube now, guys. YouTube. Also, Anti-Pharmacist Podcast has its own Facebook page now, so you can do well to follow it and get the details of all the podcast episodes we've had. Yes, you can like our post, you can make a comment, you can ask your questions on there. If there's anything you are hoping to hear from me, you can put it there. Or you can reach me as usual on the mail, francis.podcast@gmail.com. Yes, not to digress, let me go straight to my Spotify rap for the year. So I want to say a big thank you to the new subscribers, to the new followers of the podcast on all podcast hosting channels. Thank you so much. The show had 80% new listeners this year. That is huge for me, guys. That means 80% of the listeners right now are from this very year. I'm so glad for this, guys. Thank you so much to all of these people. Apart from this, the show listeners increased by 185% this year, and there was 268% increase in streams and 254% followers. Guys, that's over double of what I had last year. That's so huge, guys. I really, really, really appreciate you. I can't tell you how happy I am right now. And of course, the top country is Nigeria. Of about 16 countries that the podcast has reached, there were 8 countries in which there were active listeners, and Nigeria topped them all. Then for the average rating of the podcast, of course, trust your girl, is 5 stars rating. Yes, thank you so much to all those who have rated the show so far. And if you haven't rated it before, please go and rate it. It gives people more confidence when they see those stars on your show. They know that you are not capping, you are not chatting rubbish. You actually have useful information for them. And that encourages them to listen. Alright, please continue doing that for me. Yeah. The show has 16 top fans. That is 16 people prioritize this show above all else. That's a huge thing for me, guys. 16 different people listening to my show, making it a priority. I appreciate you all, okay? It is because of your listenership, your loyalty, that Spotify actually calls Anti-Pharmacist Podcast a trend setter. Without you guys, it wouldn't have been that. And I know that you're set, you're ready to support me and take the podcast even higher this coming year. I'm counting on you guys, and I know you won't let me down. Please continue to follow, to subscribe, to share, to listen to the podcast, to support on all social media platforms. Just type Anti-Pharmacist Podcast on any social media platform that you get to. Something will pop up for you, okay? And if not, on the likes of LinkedIn, just type Demisola Davies Joseph. That's the only one that has not yet been adapted to the podcast. But it's still me, right? Also, on Twitter, it's Fan Podcaster. I'm still trying to break into that as well. Yes, the podcast is growing, and I want you guys to grow with me. Okay, if I'm experiencing any challenges, this is the first place you hear about it. And when I've surmounted those challenges, of course, you'll be the first to hear too. Because that's what this is. We growing together. Remember that this podcast is on its way to being the number one, not just health podcast, but number one podcast worldwide. You might think it's a huge dream, but this is how those dreams start, right? It is possible. We can do it together. Yes, I believe it. Now, what should you expect next year? I'm glad to tell you that I have a lot of interesting innovations and topics lined up for next year. Yes, I'm already working on that, and that is why I need this much needed break to prepare for next year, because Anti-Pharmacist Podcast is coming back even in a better way. So we will be back and better by next year, by God's grace. I have a lot of interviews lined up with many people from all walks of life, okay? You know, this podcast is about your medications, it's about your health, it's about things that apply to your life, that help you live healthy. And that is what I have for you next year. So watch out for that. This will be the last episode for this year, and we'll be seen in January 20 or thereabout. Yes, that is when you hear my voice again. But like I say, not to worry, okay? You can listen to previous episodes, even more than once. I'm sure that the information there, they are ever relevant. There's no topic that is not relevant, okay? You can listen to them again. They are for your consumption. Thank you very much for being with me throughout all the episodes this year. I can't thank you enough. And I wish you a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year in advance. Make merry, enjoy your time with your family while being careful about your health, of course. Till next time, which is next year, stay healthy and God bless you.